Hi, I'm Sophia Ahmad, the Director of Marketing and Public Relations at the Des Moines Symphony Orchestra and Academy, and I'm delighted to be here with Maestro Joseph Giunta in his office here in downtown Des Moines. Hey Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Sophia.
Well, we have some questions for Joe about the season debut concerts, which kick off September 27th and 28th at the Des Moines Civic Center in downtown Des Moines. First off, Joe, what was your artistic vision in planning the 77th season debut?
I wanted the season to kick off with music that was colorful and that has a lot of variety, Sophia. And I found three pieces, interestingly enough, that were all 20th century pieces. Stravinsky, written in 1910, Prokofiev, 1917, and the Khachaturian, 1936. So you have three very influential composers who sort of shaped and formed the 20th century, and specifically with Stravinsky, this great genius. I put him in a category far above any other composer other than Beethoven and Bach, because when those three composers wrote music, then died, they changed the course of music history after that. So those three, in my opinion, are cut above all the other composers.
So speaking of the Firebird, it is one of the most beloved and timeless pieces in all of classical music. What is it about that piece, or about any piece, that makes it so popular?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I think popularity and greatness probably go hand in hand, although there are people that would probably disagree with me about that. I think in music, we have to talk about if it's got a good melody, that might be something that establishes greatness. If it's got interesting texture, interesting orchestration, interesting color, interesting rhythmic activity, all those things are a piece of greatness. And if you take a conductor's personality, Beethoven, for example, was rhythmically driven. Stravinsky was a genius rhythmically. He took what Beethoven did and moved it into the 20th century. No one thought about rhythm the way Stravinsky did. So you have little bits and pieces of all these things that each composer having their own sort of style, attitude about how to develop music and what inspires them. I also think great music, has to tell a great story. In the case of the Firebird, you won't find a better story than that.
Now, we mentioned Prokofiev's Classical Symphony, which is also on this program. What about that piece makes it classical?
Well, the first thing about it is that it's a classical orchestration. Two flutes, two oboes, two clarinets, two bassoons, a few horns, and a few trumpets and timpani. So it's the same size orchestra that Haydn would have used, or Mozart would have used. But more importantly, it has all these little surprises, rhythmic surprises, harmonic surprises, dynamic surprises that Haydn would have put in his symphonies, including the famous Surprise Symphony, which Prokofiev loved. But you have to think that if Haydn would have lived into the 20th century, I think his music would have sounded like this. And he would have loved these big leaps that Prokofiev was able to accomplish with the 21st century orchestra. And that's what, in my opinion, is so exciting about this piece.
Now, Joe, you've recorded the Khachaturian piano concerto. What are some of the challenges of conducting that piece?
I learned it in the mid-'80s. I recorded it with the Philharmonic in 1987, with English pianist in that circuit. And I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what I was doing in those days. And just got very fortunate to be able to be in a recording session for almost 16 hours with the Philharmonic in the same studio that the Beatles recorded their Abbey Road.
How about that?
This piece of music, in my opinion, has a variety of virtuosic elements that really need a great pianist to play. It's also very demanding to conduct. Tempos have to be exact. The last movement in particular sounds like Scott Joplin on steroids. So it's a piece that's lots of fun.